Gaming League time. It's come down to the wire. It is going to be pretty interesting here. We have an amazing grand finals. It is going to be the Facebook team versus the Google team. Is it going to be the specific colors? Why don't we go ahead and check out the bracket real quick. Also join with me is Gia. How you doing, Gia?
I'm doing great, Bemi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be casting the finals of AHGL. And it's kind of a new meta, and we could see anything happen, not to mention, I don't know how to predict whether players from big companies like this actually have extra time to refine their decks and play really well. So I'm really excited.
Well, potentially with living in predominantly in California, they may have a lot of exposure to the esports scene since California has a very heavy esports scene there. But why don't we go ahead and talk about these classes real quick? So looking at this, we have first up in just to explain and for all you folks playing at home, literally, you have a best of 5 standard conquest for each team. So they do 3 of those, and each win they get a point for what is essentially a best of 3. So within each best of 5, there's a best of 3 overall. And
best of Ception.
Best of Ception. A best of within a best of within the best of casters. And so jumping in right in here, we do have first up Viral representing Facebook versus Anand representing the good old folks at Google. And it is going to be very interesting. Looking at these class lineups right here, Viral has brought Hunter, Paladin, Warlock, and Anand's brought the Druid, Priest, Warlock, which is a very interesting lineup. But however, with the Roxas on Rubble, there's not much going in for the Priest at the moment, apart from the recently new one-cost buff deck, which has been a very unique combination of things. People have been liking that, and also APM Priest as well has been kind of getting a little bit more popular. There's been some new buffs to it. Why don't you talk about these lineups? How are you feeling about both of these sides?
Yeah, so at first glance, Bemi, the Facebook representative Viral, he seems to have a lineup that could very much go aggressive. Hunter, Paladin, and Warlock all have some decent fast decks. Hunter having Spell Hunter, Paladin having Odd Paladin, or even Paladin also works in kind of a flexible deck that can play control. It can play a bit aggressive as well. And then Warlock, of course, has the never-dying deck Zoo. But at the first glance, it's really tough to say what they have exactly, because in this meta of Rastakan's Rumble, almost every class has at least 2 viable archetypes, so he could very well be bringing some slower anti-control lineup, like it goes Q-Block, OTK Paladin, and Death Rattle Hunter, something like that. So it stands to, it has yet to be said. As for Google, I think this is more inclined to be a slower lineup just because of the presence of Priest, like you mentioned. And I do think Topsy Priest beats all the other priests at the moment, just outclasses them as the fastest to get to their combo and the most consistent if you have practice playing the deck, because there is a very high skill ceiling for just having that APM. And Druid Malagos is still quite strong, although a lot of people have been enjoying playing Undertaker, Druid, and then I heard Admirable correcting Frodan on this because he said Undertaker, and Admirable was like, no, that card was nerfed long ago. We're talking about Undertaker. All right. And Warlock could be something slow as well. Yeah, it looks like Viral on that opening hand is playing Spell Hunter. To my side, of course, indicates that. So it looks like he is on that aggressive strategy, which we first speculated he might have.
Yeah.
And Anand with this Florist makes it look very much like a Malagos Druid, but there is some possibility of something like a Togwaggle Druid as well.
Yeah, there is a possibility of that. That is not out of the realm of possibility, but I have a feeling that looking at it and just sort of knowing what popular Druid decks are, Malagos Druid is kind of one of the more popular ones to go for. And we're about to see how it goes down. Already discovering the secrets right off the bat, just kind of getting out of the way. Awkward turn 1. I'm kind of liking the idea of potentially getting the freezing trap. There's not going to be there's not a lot of aggression granted, and you're not really worried about Druid going face all the time, but it does make that mana cost a little bit more awkward. There's not a lot of great choices in general at the moment.
Yeah, not all of those are great, but I do like the freezing trap as well. I think the main purpose of playing a secret onto bluff the Wandering Monster if it's available. So you just prevent Druid from getting that chip damage in early, which they might need to close out the game with a big Malagos combo. And you have confirmed it is Malagos Druid with the presence of Moonfire and Lich King here.
Yeah,
So,
big time.
In general, I feel like this matchup slightly favors the Spell Hunter, but of course that is very dependent on whether they're able to get Spellstone. Although Spellstone early on can really, really cripple Malagos Druid's health total, and Spreading Plague doesn't necessarily deal with it.
And the good news is, and the silver lining for also Spell Hunters, that there's that new Rastakhan card, Zoologen, that does allow more long game options. You basically recycle everything. Everybody likes to call it the Hunter Yogg. So going into that,
true.
Yeah, it is going into that right now. Just a big option at the moment. Not a lot of stuff to go with the hand. No wild growth on turn 2. So unfortunately, Anand's got to practice that RNG a little bit more to become a professional Druid player. But one day, for the Howl was not a bad option. Go ahead and just gain your draws on. But what do you feel about maybe also potentially coin branching pass? Just go ahead and draw, or would you like to hold on to that for more armor for good, for keepsake? Because it's necessarily not a very aggro deck. Spell Hunter doesn't really have a lot to respond to. It's a counteract to aggro more than not.
Sure. I definitely like the Ferocious Howl this turn, just because you kind of want to hold on to the coin for that Nourish going into possible ramp. If you pick up something like Malfurion in the next few turns, going for coin Nourish into Malfurion into Lich King is a really solid curve. So I definitely like the Ferocious Howl there. You're not in a rush to branching paths and draw into better options because he still has options for the next turn. The Spell Hunter hand, though, is really lackluster. I feel like he's going to have to either top deck Spellstone really soon or get that To My Side going to put on any pressure. Otherwise, the Druid will have too much time.
Yeah, big time. To My Side would be very great. And Hover, just in general, just something with charge just to get that armor down would be great, because the armor at some point will start getting out of control. Not a lot, however. Good news for Viral. Not much going for Anand. There is a Nurge. They're probably thinking about coining it. But after that, you get the 2 mana. You maybe go for potentially the Arcane Tyrant, and then after that, what's next? There's at some point there's still answers to go through, but right now not much to worry about. And I think at the moment they're going to also be able to hold on to this Deadly Shot here for Viral just to get that Lich King out of the way, because I assume that they would account for that, but who knows?
Right. They have a much cleaner answer than Deadly Shot here with the Flanking Strike and Candle Shot, so that's pretty fortunate. You do definitely want to save Deadlies for bigger targets, because there's 3 big threats in this deck: Malagos, Alexstrasza, Lich King, all of which require either Hunter's Mark or Deadly Shot to deal with well. And with the pickup of Twig of the World Tree, that makes this turn quite a bit better, because you don't necessarily just want to go for a triple draw turn with Branching and Ferocious Howl. So now Anand has the option to go Ferocious Howl and then equip the Twig of the World Tree. Alternatively, he could go for something like MC Tech, but I don't really like it, because you expect that the Spell Hunter is going to be summoning quite a few things in the coming turns. Turn 6 is To My Side, so they just play 1 minion after that, and maybe your MC Tech gets value. So I definitely just like equipping Twig and Smack in Face, because that big swing turn wins the Malagos Druid so many games. Of course, when you have 20 mana in a turn, any deck could do that.
Yeah, you gotta start building up that win condition of the actual Malagos. I've seen more than not right now just the way that Malagos just kind of pressures out all this damage, and it's also good news for them right now just because of how slow Viral's deck is, and with the Spell Hunter, there's not a lot of board going wide, so the moment that the board doesn't go wide, it's just kind of fine at the moment.
Yeah, they're under almost no pressure at all, and with no To My Side, no Spellstone, the best minion that Viral could come up with is a Huffer through Animal Companion this way, but I think might as well just go for Rexar in that case, because yeah, you lose your Smart Hero power, but no way you're beating him with just 2 damage per turn. This way he can try and invest that 2 mana into making big stealth minions, into making charge minions, and things like that. Stealth is a really strong mechanic against Malagos Druid, especially because their removal is targeted. Like, you can't use Spellstones and Naturalizes on things that you can't see.
Yeah, that is true. You can't target it if it's stealthy. And honestly, I would be starting to sweat a little bit for Nan. But, I mean, there's not much response apart from the deadly shot for, doing what they can. They are going to drop this Lich King, and this is going to be very unfortunate for them. But, I mean, they also need to start building up that Twig as well. So, I mean, there's still a few turns a little bit of time to buy, but for how much longer, I don't know. They do need to start, like you said, drawing into those Malygoses, the Floop. We haven't seen the Floop. That's another big thing as well. That allows a lot more options because you could get a second Arcane Tyrant, MC Tech. It just accounts for a lot of things. And the Mukla, that could damage the hand a lot by cluttering it.
Yeah, that could also possibly overdraw. Perhaps not on this turn because there are only 7 cards in hand, but holding on to the Mukla for later could be a thing. But I think the bigger priority for Viral is to come up with some pressure this turn. So I'm actually in favor of taking the Razor Maw and maybe adapting. Oh, something cheap because you also want to play Deadly Shot this turn. So I think with the 1-drop, everything still fits. Or if not, then the Penguin. Because you can adapt your Wolf that's on board, start pushing some face damage through the Deadly Shot.
Yeah, you definitely can, big time. You want to start chipping away that armor before it starts getting out of control. I was honestly just a big fan of the Mukla just because of accounting for UI, and that could potentially be a big deal, but it seems like they're going to go for that. I don't know if they're going to be necessarily at 10 cards after this, but no, they will be just at 10 cards with the bananas, so... interesting that they went ahead and played that while the hand was not full, but I mean, a 6/8 on the board is not bad at all as well for about 4 mana or 3 mana, depending on if they chose the mole or the it looks like they chose the mole, looking at the health of the... Yeah, they chose the mole. So, I mean, for 4 mana, being able to get a 6/8 on the board and start pressuring damage, and they can get this armor out of the way right now, looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's true. The other option accounted for using Deadly Shot, but I forgot that they had... just allows them to take a more expensive minion. And the Mukla is definitely looking threatening. It requires a Naturalize to deal with in 1 shot. Alternatively, Anand could just go for Spellstone and Hero Power with Twig that is 8 damage since it is fully juiced up. He'll have to take the 6, but I think that's actually quite fine with this health total. You want to save that Naturalize for something bigger. The thing is, they got the worst possible Lich King card result, which is Death Grip in a deck that has, against the deck with no minions, is not going to pull anything. Which is a little bit funny. And I guess we're playing a Banana on the Up Tyrant.
Yeah!
Nothing better to do.
Well, you gotta get that potassium up somehow. Gotta keep your bones strong. Especially when you're in the afterlife. You know what? That didn't work. Never mind. Alright, cool. But unfortunately, this Hunter's Mark is going to be, not Hunter's Mark, excuse me. It's still a huge option. Just go ahead and get out of the way, keep the Beast. But we're going to just keep on building. The Plated Beetle could be fine. The Pterodactyl, it's not a bad choice either. What are you feeling here for the Beast building?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that he went for the Beast build immediately, but I guess it still fits. Because I was thinking maybe develop Spellstone this turn, although it's a little mana inefficient to play a Secret and then put 3 Wolves onto the board. So maybe he's just looking for big minion after big minion, and following that line of thought, I would have taken the 3... probably the most stat efficient for its mana cost there. Can't remember the middle choice, but these are small options though.
Yeah, I can understand the idea of trying to build big minions on board, because that does pressure the Malygos Druid to extend a lot of those damage resources, like the Swipe and the Moonfire, to clear the board rather than going for face, which is what it's trying to go for all along. So this is working out pretty strongly overall. And there's the Malygos coming in. The Twig is at 2, so this could be finally building up to something pretty sweet. I'm liking this a lot. Neutralize is not gonna, at the moment there's not a lot to go for. Even the grip is kind of a dead card because there's no minions in the deck of a Spell Hunter. That's kind of the thing, is that all the stuff is there. So that's another dead hand.
What he can go for here is MC Tech and Dream Paddle, which guarantees the discount onto the Malygos. And that seems really strong because it will allow him to draw in the same turn as playing Malagos, which might be necessary because in the way of damage spells, he has not picked up swipes. He only has that Moonfire. So I kind of like going for that 10 mana turn now, get that out of the way. I think at 27, you're not too scared of dying yet.
You would hope not. I don't know. Sometimes Spell Hunter could just go ahead and have like 15 minions, and you would go like, wait, hold on, the board isn't even wide enough for that. But we'll see how this goes. Going for Dreamflower Forest, just sort of building up, tempoing out. Oh my goodness, tempoing out the MC Tech, feeling the pressure right now, seeing what they can clear up, and that
it's smart to guarantee the discount on. Pretty surprised that he went for the Twig hit into the Misha just to get the Twig lower. It's a really scary health total, but at the same time, I get it because he really just wants to get to that huge Malagos swing turn immediately.
Yeah, that's very true. And also on top of that, Misha can't get the value trade now because they could trade into the MC Tech, and then all there would be is the Petal Florist, and basically you had Misha take out 2 minions for 1, which is pretty stellar. All right, dropping down the zombies, very strong. Now it has Rush. You could get the Petal Florist out of the way, but at this point, the Malagos, it's done its job. It's gone to 2 costs. The Twig's at 1. Things are revving up. And just getting the branching paths would be pretty huge as well. Just go ahead and just start drawing, see if you can find those swipes and Moonfires, and you pretty much got all the ingredients. You just need that water to just put it all together and stick to it.
It's true, and another thing about Spell Hunter is that all the weapon removal effects in the game are in the form of minions, so Spell Hunter cannot afford to run that, and none of the oozes are actually... Oh my gosh, what a top
huge!
Deck.
Absolutely huge. Unfortunately, the 4-3 with lifesteal is not going to be able to be taken care of due to the fact that it can only be targeted by the hero that it plays from, but which is pretty amazing, by the way. But it does allow them to start building up the board. Unfortunately, looking at the amount of cards, I think we will see a little bit of an overdraw, but I think they're going to take that risk, or I think honestly maybe a Moonfire might have been a good way to play it, but how big of a risk is it to burn cards at this stage of the game? Ooh, that's one of the Moonfires gone.
Yeah, I think it's okay not to burn the Moonfire there because the only cards are dead cards at this point. So burning a Moonfire, like the only good trade-off is expending a Moonfire to get a swipe, right? Which is not that likely anyway. So I liked holding on to all the cards there and probably holding the Twig as well because you don't want to be playing Malagos this turn because it's not the lethal damage. Yes, you did see 2 deadly shots used, but Zul'jin is going to come out on this turn, possibly. So that would have taken care of the Malagos. And if that dies and the Hunter isn't dead yet, that's your win condition gone because the Hunter can very easily find lifesteal like this to heal up after that turn. I guess they're also a bit concerned about burning Alexstrasza. That's another big one because with having seen 1 Moonfire gone, the max damage output in 1 turn without Floop and without Alexstrasza is like 21, I think.
Roughly about that. Math is hard.
24, sorry, 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You got it way faster than I did, so props to you. Oh no!
That's a biggie.
That is a biggie as well. Honestly, I feel like as much as they would like to hold on to the Moonfire that they got, but burning the other Moonfire and then the Alexstrasza, that's not really, that's bad news bears, really.
It is.
At the moment, I kind of like the idea of sort of maybe dropping Spreading Plague, seeing if you can start just drawing into some other stuff. Maybe drop Spreading Plague, go into Wild Growth, start getting some stuff on the board. You could potentially do this, drop the Malagos as well, go into Twig, and see what you can make.
Yeah, it's true. I actually, at first glance, I did like the Spreading there because the safe play, because you can still draw into which can make everything all better. But going for this play, it's saying that, alright, if you don't have Zul'jin, how are you removing the Malagos? And after that, you should be able to deal with everything. So he is just going to take this slightly riskier path. The rope is burning, so if he wants to Twig turn, it's going to be a bit awkward.
That's very true. They need to draw into the Floop right now in order to just keep this alive, because at the very least, if they get the Floop, then and they play no other minions, then they are pretty much sitting pretty well, because the Floop will at least account for that Malgus, but I think this kind of seals out the game.
Yeah, it does, because this will have a deadly shot packed into it. And the thing about the Floop is that if you're going for that turn, you need to start with the draw so that the Floop is in your hand before you play the Malagos. So the Floop actually won't copy it if you.
Oh, that's right.
Even so, that was really just a pray he doesn't have Zul'jin type of play, which I am not in complete agreement with. And right now, I'm not seeing a win condition anymore for this Druid. So, I mean, he can Spreading Plague install to try and stay alive, but
yeah, well, I don't know. I think pretty much the spreading plague, yeah, that buys you a little bit of time. But like you said, I think this is pretty much game one going over to viral. The Spell Hunter just really has a lot more late game possibilities than any of the others. Because dropping Zul'jin, you just pretty much just recycled the board, and on top of that, no Spellstones. They haven't even brought the Spellstone. And they also have Rookdalar. They haven't even played Rookdalar. That just reloads a bunch of spells as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the thing is, you called it the Hunter Yogg, but a friend of mine recently made the comparison that it's more like a Hunter N'Zoth. Because in the end, most of its effects are minion summoning. And that's what makes it so deadly. It's like a free board refill on top of removing a couple of your opponent's minions if you have some deadly shots in the pool. And with the way Flanking Strike and Baited Arrow works, sometimes you remove your own minions and summon your own. So it just ends up being more like a N'Zoth net. But anyway, yeah, I think Anand is just going to go for whatever signs of life he might find, which is to make a buffed up Plague board, but this should be easily dealt with by all of these Hunter spells.
Yeah, very true. Just desperately trying to play, not going to be able to finish that turn, and Anand just right now trying to pretend they're a token druid, just hoping that nobody else will see, but Burning Wandering Monster, I mean, honestly, this is not a big deal at the moment. They're pretty much loaded to the brim of just like good board stuff. Not much to address these plagues right now. The 3/5s pretty strong at the moment, but I mean, they have the kill commands. They have a bunch of other stuff.
That's true. With kill command and Baited Arrow and the board they currently have on top of this very flexible new Hunter hero power, they should be able to stave off this pressure. And this is basically the last board that the Druid will be able to create, because he has used the other branching paths already, so even with second Spreading Plague, they wouldn't have high enough attack to threaten lethal. So yeah, I'm thinking that the Hunter has this 100% in the bag. Hunter
pretty much does. I think we're just kind of... I do admire Anand's, like, perseverance, though. That is something to be said. Just from the standpoint of how they're just like... who knows? Maybe my person will DC, or maybe I'll get lucky and they have just a bunch of dead cards. But with Spell Hunter right now and just the current meta, there's really no way of saying there's much in the way of dead cards for Spell Hunter, because it just has so many responses.
Yeah, post Zul'jin, it's probably unlikely that they have dead cards, but I mean, because they would have gotten quite some refill from trackings and things like that. But it is possible, because the hero power that's scariest is actually Rexar's. It's not Zul'jin's going into late game, because that's infinite value. So there is a very, very fringe situation where maybe from Anand's perspective, he burns the Spellstones off the top, or he burns to my side with these naturalizes. And maybe Zul'jin is only left with a bunch of secrets that don't actually do anything if Anand doesn't respond. But after seeing Spellstone, he should be aware that there's not much he can do.
Yeah, and also the zombies that they've been loading up as well. That's kind of like one of the things, I think one of the reasons why they were kind of prioritizing building the zombies, because they were only going to have that Rexar for so long, because they really want to get that Zul'jin out, and especially with just the amount that Zul'jin can do right now. Oh my goodness, this is just it's quite crazy and ridiculous at the moment. And yeah, that hero power is just gonna sign it off. That's gonna basically bring it down to lethal. Is there anything else that they could potentially do? Not really much, because after this is pretty much lethal.
They can search as the Google team for the next deck to bring
Hey,
to the match.
That's fair.
And,
Hey Google,
Conquest, yeah.
how do I respond to a board that I already cleared?
Hey Google, how do I beat Zul'jin with like no good cards in hand?
Huh. Good luck. Fair enough. Google would try their best to bring you the best answer, but no millions of search results can save you from this, unfortunately, as much as it's such a great search engine. And yeah, I'm looking at this right now. They got the second Spreading Plague. That's a pretty good top deck, but yeah, there you go. All right. And game one, going over to Viral very convincingly. The Spawns probably not the strongest of the three decks that they have, but it's certainly like a very strong contender to be one at the moment with the current meta. Let's see, Mind Blast.
Yeah, it must be Control Priest, just the regular Mind Blast Control Priest. Sometimes they run a Dragon package, but basically this deck is like survive until you can get 3 or 4 Mind Blasts with the help of Shadow Visions. Then you go Alexstrasza, then OTK them. It is the Dragon version though.
Dragon Priest. Okay, cool. We haven't seen this in a while since Cobalt and Catacombs, but I'm all for it. I did love me some dragons. I think dragons are some of the coolest creatures. But either way, Even Lock coming into play with the Spell Hunter does dictate a little bit. Getting the Anduin early.
It's actually it's a cube lock, I do think, because well, one, the hero powers the
you know
same,
what?
But
You're
they
right.
also have dark. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I just saw a giant.
Right. Giant, definitely a staple of any Warlock that isn't Zoo. As for Anand, though, this matchup is pretty good, I would say, for the Priest, because Psychic Scream deals with cubes like no other card can. Anduin is able to deal with giants, so they just basically need to get past that early game. For an early giant, the best check that the Priest has is Twilight Acolyte, which is really strong. You just swap the attacks and don't have to worry about that giant unless they have Spellbreaker. And later on, the Warlock doesn't have quite enough mechanics to heal efficiently, I think, to be able to outlast several Mind Blasts.
Yep, this tends to be a very difficult thing, what with the amount of resources that they have available to them. If they can maybe get potentially the Gul'dan early, that could, or play it early, that could potentially be a big deal for them. They are going to go ahead and just pass turns a little bit awkward right now, but they're just going to give a friendly hello, just greet them, just say, hey, how's it going? I'm going to drop giant next turn, just be aware. But maybe the Scale Worm will make them take a second guess as to maybe dropping that. Or no, they're just going to go right for it and try to get that Scale Worm out of the way and try to get the value out of it.
Yeah, the Q-Block is the aggressor in this matchup. They definitely... Oh, that's such a good draw. Now he has an answer for the Giant by trading into it with the Scale Worm and then just playing out a Dustbreaker. Alternatively, you could stall with this Star Creeper, although it does make it a little scary with cube-packed options being available. I think personally I would have played the Dustbreaker there and just taken the trade.
That is very true, but it is early into the game, and I guess they're kind of accounting as like, what are the odds for them to be able to cube pact right away this turn? You know, they do have coin. That is a factor to think about, but I think they're pretty okay, especially with the fact that they have a Faceless Manipulator up here. Not too worried, so now even if that Scale Worm trades in, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I don't know how you respond to 2 Mountain Giants on turn 5.
Well, it would be Mass Hysteria if that's in the deck, but I'm not sure if that found a space in the Dragon Control Priest, because this deck is a bit greedier than the other packages of Priest, which of course have more removal in the place of these dragons. But I think that Anand is fine. He should probably just take the trade onto the 1 giant, mitigate the damage for now, and then he has Scream for the next turn. Or alternatively, he could stall 1 more turn and then play Anduin the next turn.
And it's very true. They do also hold on to a lot of resources as well.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he's gonna go for a Dustbreaker this turn if he's trading into the Healthy Giant, which is fine as well because putting the 3 attack minion onto the board with the other giant at 8-2, it technically challenges the giant, so warrants an answer for the Dustbreaker. I like this play.
I like this play a lot too, and I mean, honestly, at the moment, when you think about it, there's a lot of high health minions in cube block. Just the cube itself. Also, like Zilliax is probably one of the lowest health minions that you're gonna get, and then also on top of that, there's only the 6-cost 2/2 that summons a Void Lord, and you don't want to necessarily kill that and start just giving fuel to the fire for viral.
It's true. Unfortunately for Anand, though, I think he was setting up for a double Dustbreaker turn, but did not draw into a second dragon to activate the second Dustbreaker, so that is a bit awkward. You don't necessarily want to be Psychic Screaming a board that's already been damaged, but he might be forced to in this situation, lest he wants to take another 11 damage.
Well, that's kind of one of the magical things about Priest, is that you could kind of take 11 damage, heal back up, and it's like it almost never happened, and you could hold on to the resources a little bit longer than some other classes. However, I agree with you. Maybe Psychic Scream may be just ideal at the moment. It does also clutter up the deck a little bit. It makes it a little just 2 more cards harder to find that necessary combo of just trying to find some way of being able to get those Void Lords out. We don't necessarily know the deck, so we'll see what happens. Oh man, they are just hoping they're going to tempo out this Duskbreaker. Don't necessarily know the idea behind this, but maybe you can explain a little bit better. Or do you know yourself as well?
Oh, first of all, I think Viral would have been shocked to see that Duskbreaker had no battle cry, which is pretty funny because it would have been a really good card situation. But I think the reasoning behind this is that they really value the Psychic Scream, which I can totally respect because that's your only answer for cube boards, basically. And going into the next turn, they still have this Anduin for the Giant. Zilliax in and of itself is not a huge threat, so I can definitely respect the play from Anand there. It's very low chance that you're gonna die this turn. I don't think it's even possible from 13 without a Doomguard already onto the board, but it could make a huge difference here, okay? It will die to Anduin, is the thing. So this is definitely a setup from Anand by holding the Scream there just to get a better Anduin turn. And it's gonna work out pretty well for him.
Yeah, things are looking up and up for Anand now that they have the Anduin to just be able to do that. But then you're also now relying on the cards to basically heal you up because you're still going to be working with about 13 health after this. So we'll see if that's going to be worth it because, I mean, it does get rid of the Doomguard, but then you got to think about it. In 3 turns, that Gul'dan could come down, and if there's really no way of healing yourself, then it could run into a huge problem. Just like it's getting pressured out, and also on top of that, you could just Doomguard. There's double Hellfire. There's so many answers right now that could happen from Viral. This is looking. I honestly, while I like the idea of dropping the Anduin early, I'm not really seeing much answers in the afterwards of that.
Yeah, I think he may have needed to go for that play though, just because the Priest doesn't have that long of inevitability, because once Gul'dan comes down, Viral's actually able to heal faster than Anduin can deal damage by the time that Anduin runs out of cards, right? Because it's just 2 damage per turn versus 3 lifesteal per turn. And in that case, maybe Anand is just hoping for something like an Alexstrasza top deck so he can start turboing out the damage. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And he definitely has to respect this Umbra. It's probably going to be hero power onto that, play a Cleric, hero power again, shield the Cleric, try to cycle a bit more.
Yeah, is there any way of getting any kind of
shadowy thoughts,
draw power as well? Like, looking at this, Divine Hymn is really the only thing that's going to be able to stand between them and maybe drawing some more cards. I mean, yeah, I agree with just dropping the Cleric, going ahead and just seeing what you can do and just getting that, you know, getting that 3/4 out of the way is probably going to be huge. But honestly, at the moment, it's just the hand is so awkward. There's just not much draw power going on right now, unless they drop the Divine Hymn. I mean, they could use the 6 health. I'm not gonna lie, that could be pretty useful, and if they draw both, that could be great. But after, what would you try to get those clerics to draw into at that point?
I think Alex Straza and other Mind Blasts. Right now he's just trying race this Q block up. Unfortunately though, he picked up the second Mind Blast, which means that he won't be able to fish any additional ones from Shadow Vision. So that limits his max damage output in a turn to 16, which is enough post Alex Straza, but you probably expect the Q block to heal up a bit after that. So more and more I'm thinking that it's gonna be quite difficult for this Control Priest to get the job done, especially with the Doomguard revive coming down this turn.
Well, here comes Gul'dan. Doomguard's gonna come out and just swing that face. The armor is officially gone. Alex Straza, there it is.
They cannot play it this turn because they're dead on with hero power. If they do, if they Alex their own face, I do think that is pretty much giving up a win condition there. So,
Do you maybe Psychic Scream?
Actually, they're dead in that case too, to double Hellfire hero
You're
power.
right, yeah.
I think the turn involves Divine Hymn in some capacity. And just trying to ping off the Doomguard. Maybe you trade one cleric. Oh no, you don't. Yeah, you have to, because you only get 2 pings if you weave the Divine Hymn in between it. It's really awkward. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You can actually just use a Mind Blast here because it's armor, it's not health, so it's not being dealt with by Alex Straza. They are, however, gonna go for Psychic Scream and Divine Hymn, the safest play they can make. And that means they will survive the turn.
I would have liked to see it. I'm not bothered by the turn, but I feel like the card order might have been a little bit different, because if you got the Divine Hymn, you could have been able to draw like just a couple of more cards with the Northshire Cleric, and then go ahead and just move on from there and just like Psychic Scream them. But
wait, how could you have drawn? I mean, the clerics weren't damaged, right? So.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. I'm sorry. I keep thinking, for whatever reason, I keep thinking that if you heal your hero, you're able to get draw. But no, never mind.
That's all right. Okay,
Never
so
mind.
the play here is definitely Alex Straza from the perspective, and then try to hope that there's no answer for the Alex, and they can maybe deal the 16 from hand. But we can see that there is just the lethal on the other end from Viral with double. Well, okay, not quite yet. It's 9 damage. Yeah, with Doomguard, they can go Doomguard Tal'Daram hero power for 11, but that requires that the Doomguard doesn't discard the Tal'Daram. But I don't see any other play than offensive Alex here. I think defensive Alex is too safe. Okay, it looks like they're gonna stall with hero power, Cabal Shadow Priest hero power. Man, I don't know about that.
Yeah, this is kind of awkward with lifesteal and everything. This is just kind of just an uphill battle, and they do have a Doomguard in hand, so that's probably going to be played. I mean, let's see, Doomguard, double Hellfire, they're
right,
just
it
dead.
Gets pulled from the skull.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is lethal every way you look at it. Even without the skull, they had a chance for lethal. So there you go, Viral, guys. That's tournament deck right now. All the pros agree.
Congratulations, Viral. You have earned GS respect. That is quite a high honor. So, well, all right. Going into this, for Mulligan-wise, given that you are the even Paladin Master, Gia, tell me how should you be steering this deck against Priest, and how should Anand be able to go around this deck?
So the big one you want to mulligan for is Corpse Taker. That is super strong. There's some versions of Paladin on the Tiger, the Spirit, that allows you to just leverage Blessing of Kings. But basically you just want to play one of these strong 4-drops, stick a Blessing of Kings, and then shuck them face, you know. In this case though, they do get their Corpse Taker, but the turn 1 Cleric is a huge deal for the Priest. I actually think this might be one of the matchups where even Paladin could struggle, simply because of the efficiency of board clears like Dustbreaker, and the fact that the priest can heal out of range of things like Avenging Wrath for lethal.
Fair enough. Well, look at it right now. Look like they're just going to start continuing to draw, see what they can do. They do get the Divine Hymn out of that, but at the moment, ooh, Kangar, that's going to be a pretty good draw once they start building up their board and whatnot, and getting like potentially. What are some of the factors of lifesteal that you would try to account for here with a Kangar, or just like healing in general? Like what is the benefit of that?
It's generally just a very annoying minion to deal with. Basically, Anoyatron instead has it basically should have taunt because it's a must kill if you're an aggressive deck facing off against even Paladin. I would say that Kangar is not too impactful in this particular matchup, but sometimes having that stick and then landing a Blessing of Kings or Spikeridge Steed on it just makes it an unkillable healing machine. And it also has synergy with True Silver Champion, which makes it a pretty decent card in general.
That's very true. Looking at the hand right now for Anon, though, since it is their turn, Coin Scaleworm, maybe, but I don't know. The Pyromancer is probably going to be a good idea as well. You could potentially Pyromancer Coin Shadow Visions.
Man, I think it's really awkward because even that doesn't leaves it a 1/1, and I think if you're going this turn, you want to clear everything, right? Because you're scared of Blessing of Kings landing. So I actually think this might just be a Shadow Visions pass turn. It's really unfortunate that he didn't draw another dragon to activate the Dustbreaker. Scaleworm looks really weak here because it dies to True Silver and things like that. It only kills off one minion. So the options... Yeah, I like Shield. It synergizes really well with Pyromancer.
Pyromancer, definitely. They could... I don't think it may be ideal, but they could definitely bump up the corpse... the Corpse Taker, excuse me. The Scale Worm if they wanted to, but like you said, the Pyromancer is more ideal, and... Ooh, getting the second one as well. Draws are going to be good, and also you could potentially clear out a few things here. I don't know necessarily... What, like... Do you also just go for the coin because of the Kangar? Because technically it has 3 health because of the Divine Shield.
Yeah, I definitely like Pyro Shield to start, see what you draw. The thing is, the Corpse Taker has 4 health, so if you want to clear everything... Well, maybe we're not doing that. Maybe just 2 shields is good. The thing is, the Corpse Taker was played on the turn that Wind Fury Harpy was drawn, which is the only Wind Fury effect in the deck, so that Corpse Taker is much less of a threat, and also it gives Anand a lot of hand information because most even Paladins at this point in the meta only run Wind Fury Harpy as their Wind Fury effect. So now Anand should have a hard read on what one of the cards in hand is. I like second shield here and maybe just hold on to the coin. If he's coining this out, maybe he's gonna end the turn with
Divine Hymn.
Divine Hymn instead. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that because the Corpse Taker ends up still just being able to trade into the Pyro. I kind of like Shield there, just to keep the cycle going. Really want to draw into a dragon to help this Dustbreaker be able to clear off the next board.
Yeah, you want to start just going ahead and getting some kind of ability to just board clear easily. Getting the second Dustbreaker, that's pretty good. They're going to go ahead.
Peasy.
Lemon squeezy. And now...
You can use the shield on this stuff. Priest is looking in a very strong...
Second Psychic Scream in the hand, looking pretty good. The Harpy, maybe. Or just go ahead and tempo out Greymane and see what you can do with that. There's not much going on for the hand. After clearing that board, things are looking up and up for Anon right now.
Yeah, I think I like the Gen Greymane as well, just because it is able to one-shot the Dustbreaker, which remains on the board. Anon here can clear off the Harpy with Scaleworm if he so chooses. I definitely think you need to, because if that thing sticks, I mean, Blessing of Kings, that's just 16 damage.
Spells trouble.
Pretty insane. Yeah. Even Spike Ridge Steed is 12 damage and just a very annoying minion. Of course, he has this failsafe as Scream, but you don't necessarily want to be spending the whole turn playing that if you can avoid it. So Mind Blast and Power Word Shield both look like good options in this situation. He is going to take the Mind Blast, knowing that this is a deck that you do want to just go for that Alexstrasza into triple Mind Blast or some type of play, because they can heal a little bit after Alexstrasza with True Silver Champion, things like that.
Absolutely can. And setting up for late game as well doesn't hurt for Anon right now as well, as they are just going to be able to hopefully draw into that Anduin at some point soon. The Grey Mane just going to be a turn. It does indicate for Anon that Viral right now has a pretty slow hand going on, but I mean, also on top of that, they do have Rocking for them is the 6th spell that allows them to get some taunt, some boost going on, and that makes the Grey Mane pretty dangerous. That makes it into, I believe, an 8-9.
Yeah, Psychic Scream would be really strong there. And basically, their game plan is to survive until they draw in Straza. And in that case, I guess just playing out the Cabal Shadow Priest for the 1/1 is okay here, just because there aren't that many better targets. I'm not sure if they run Amani Berserker. That is something that has been popping up in Even Paladin lately. But even then, it's a little bit greedy to hold on to the Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. Unless they're setting up for a Psychic Scream turn, which is fine, in which case you'd just rather have the Cabal Priest in hand. So I think that's the mindset here, and it's making some sense to me.
Yeah, potentially right now, and at the moment, Viral's dropping the Argent Squire. Giving that Divine Shield is going to be pretty huge, and do they drop the buff onto the Grey Mane? And if they drop that buff onto the Grey Mane, do you Psychic Scream them? Because there's not much on the board, but it is kind of a small hand right now, so if you Psychic Scream, you're like, there's not much really going on. If I Psychic Scream, no harm, no foul, and all they really get out of it is a 3/3.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely Scream here. The board does not look like it'll get that much more threatening. You have the second Scream is the big thing as well. So as for late game threats for Even Paladin, have different preferences. Some of them like Tyrion, some of them like Lich King, some of them just cut it all together for a type of Valenier package. And we did see in the Mulligan that Viral runs Valenier and Chain Gang, so maybe he doesn't have as many of the big late game threats, in which case this Psychic Scream is looking even stronger.
Yeah, Psychic Scream's looking pretty strong as well. Like you said, there is some late game for the Even Paladin, but not too much. For Even Paladin, what kind of Roxasan, I'm gonna butcher that name forever, kind of expansion stuff do you think they could add? There is gonna be the Lich King coming out. That's gonna be huge.
That is probably their best top deck in this situation.
Death Decay maybe would be a good Death Knight card. Death Coil is never a bad thing.
Never bad, I would say. You're right. I was thinking maybe something like, actually, because their hand is looking so light. The one that pulls minions from your deck.
Oh yeah.
Draw 5. Yeah. I think that would have been strongest in this situation, especially having seen minions shuffled back in that you don't necessarily want to be drawing individually. They need another big board to try and pressure the Priest before they get to their Anduin and Alexstrasza. And Priest is really looking quite strong here, except that this will be their second Scream if they want to use it. It's so scary to leave Lich King up. But the thing is, if you Scream this, how do you answer the next board?
Yeah,
and you give up your Cleric, which you need to draw and cycle into.
Yeah, it's also not like the Warlock as well. It's not that it doesn't get any benefit from it, because technically there is some ways of potentially healing the board and just sort of going ahead and getting some benefits out of that. We'll see how it goes. Bless you.
Sorry, no, quite a sore throat at the moment. I'm sure you've noticed.
Oh well, thank you for being a trooper and coming to cast this.
No problem. So Argent Commander and Ooze. Yeah, that is a decent board to threaten the Priest at the moment. They can't really pull anything better at the moment. I wouldn't mind dropping the Pyro, except that if they want to try and play the Death Coil next turn, it will remove the Divine Shield from this Argent Commander. But honestly, I think that the Even Paladin needs to take the aggressor stance here, especially with a hand that has just 7 burst in it.
Yeah, just go ahead and start pushing that face. You haven't seen the Duskbreaker. You assume they're holding on to the odds. Ooh, the Primordial Drake. Okay.
The best draw for this particular board, I think. So I guess that's the main reason why Viral held on to that Wild Pyro. Will be a little bit rewarded for it, but the Even Paladin is looking in a pretty bad spot here.
Yeah, the Paladin's having a little bit of a rough time right now. And there's that Cleric. Goodness gracious me. That may come in clutch. Death Coil will actually help out and get rid of the Primordial Drake. Interesting. Okay, so looks like they're going for a concentration. They're dropping their entire hand right now. Are you not too bothered by this, or are you okay with this? Because this does give the information to Anand that, hey, you're doing pretty well right now. They do have the pressure, like you said earlier.
I actually thought that they might have had to do that to pray that Primordial Drake was. I was also thinking of a very fringe play they could have done there. You can actually draw a card using Cleric and Death Coil as Paladin, which is pretty interesting. So you'd have to like go Pyro Consec with the Cleric on board, so the Cleric gets damaged, and then you Death Coil a friendly minion. But that would not have cleared the Drake. And this play was probably miles better than just getting one extra draw. Unfortunately, though, it's not gonna work out for them. I don't know what single draw can pull the Even Paladin back out from this situation. Seems like Control Priest and Shudderwalk Shaman are just really tough matchups for this deck, but I still strongly believe that it is one of the best board-based decks in the game right now.
That's fair. How much is this? Ooh, hello. How much is the Sunkeeper Tarum? Is that 6 or 7 mana? I don't remember.
It's 6 mana, yeah.
Okay.
And that would be a really good draw, you're right.
Just only trying to... The Avenging Wrath will be probably a used draw as well, but probably pressuring that face the best they can, and that is not going to do them much help at the moment, just due to the fact that the Primordial Drake is in hand into Duskbreaker. Just kind of goes hand to hand.
That's really rip, and most Even Paladins only run 1. So that's pretty much all the burst out of the way. They rely on leveraging their early game hand, so that just drawing 1 card at a time is enough. That being able to play Blessing of Kings onto a Corpsetaker is like playing 2 cards for 1. And yeah, Little Hydrologist, they could try and pull Hidden Wisdom as the secret, and maybe the Priest messed up and gives Viral 2 draws. But it's very unlikely.
Maybe the man down saves them 4 damage, I suppose. Does a little bit of damage onto the Primordial Drake, and then somehow they manage to get 6 attack. You know, maybe, somehow, maybe. All synonyms for the odds are not really in their favor right now. Noble Sacrifice, not the man down. Excuse me.
He's get down, I think. That's what he says.
Yeah, you're right. He does say that. I don't know, just... For whatever reason, I've always said man down. I'm absolutely a terrible person remembering the name of these cards.
You know what? We know what you mean, so it doesn't matter.
That's good. That's good. Well, yeah, this is looking like a pretty good hand for them right now. Noble Sacrifice getting out of the way. They understand, like they said, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Sunkeeper Tarum, it does allow them the hero power. Get another 1/1 on the board. They could have 2 3/3s and 3/7, but after that, the Duskbreaker would get them out of the way if they pull the Alexstrasza's. Right now, not able to pull out the Battlecry, but there is the Pyromancer, and they can just keep Mind Blasting over and over and healing it as well.
Yeah, I think from this position, Priest doesn't even need Alexstrasza. They could just even drop this Cabal Shadow Priest, pull the Hydrologist, and try to set up for a lethal with Mind Blast. The thing is, the only punish would be equality plus something, but the fact that the Paladin is only drawing 1 card at a time, they can't equality and consecrate until 2 turns after.
Hydrologist going up to the likes of a Primordial Drake. Who knew a Murloc could fight such a powerful dragon, but seems to be the case right now going in as a 4-4 with 2-6. I mean, it does cushion the blow, but at that point, what are you waiting for at that moment? It seems kind of like a little more desperation.
Yeah, it really is. And now Anand has the option to Stegodon. And he can even play a Twilight Drake before the Cabal Shadow Priest. Just make a really, really powerful board that can only be staved off by Tarim, and only for a turn as well. So, bit of misordering there. The Twilight Drake loses 1 health, but it's really not a big deal.
Yep, and there we go. Alright, we were wondering when that concede was happening.
I mean, the players are playing it out, so
Yep,
unaware.
it is the Hunter. I just double checked. So I'm looking.
I mean, I'm just gonna message Anand real quick and ask.
No, I just checked the deck lineups here on the group, the Discord group chat. It is Anan is running the Druid Hunter Priest. Excuse me, not the Druid Hunter Warlock. So that is a misinformation on my part.
Okay, got it.
Yes, so that's my fault. You can blame me 100%. But here we go. It is going to be the Death Rattle Hunter versus the Even Paladin. Talk to me, Gia.
Sorry, Anand just messaged me saying he's tilted. I apologize for getting missed. Alright, Even Paladin.
It's my fault. Don't take the blame.
Death Rattle Hunter. Even Paladin, I think, should be pretty favored in this matchup. Because it really takes advantage of just never losing the board in this situation. They can make it so that the trading is very, very awkward for the Death Rattle Hunter, because once the Death Rattle Hunter gets these big minions up, they definitely want to be chucking them face, but there's always going to be this threat of equality. And by that time, when things like Katharina can come down, usually the Even Paladin has put on enough pressure that the Death Rattle Hunter will want to be trading just to survive.
Yeah.
That being said, though, the early hand from Anand is pretty strong with Egg into Flanking Strike, but without Candle Shot, this Corpse Taker is gonna go unanswered.
There we go. Alright, so sorry about that. Just fixing that up real quick, but as you said, the Corpse Taker is going to be huge, and I mean, that's Wind Fury, Lifesteal, Divine Shield. Like you said, it's a vicious fledgling, but with cool golden animations. If it only got poison, that would be ridiculous. Looking at it here right now, getting the tracking. Serenite Chain Gang is probably going to be the biggest thing, but I think they might want to try to track into Terror Scale Stalker. That could be pretty huge for them. Start getting that 5/5 on the board and forcing that, you know, Corpse Taker to start just trading out either the egg so that way they can't produce any more 5/5s, or just to get that 5/5 that's already out there out of the way.
Yeah. On the other hand, maybe the safer play is to go for Serenite Chain Gang as stall, because technically they can stall for 2 turns with Serenite and then flanking, and then try to use Rexar to clean up whatever's left, because this will be able to soften up the board quite a bit. It does get punished by Blessing of Kings, as you mentioned, but I'm not sure of the odds of being able to get that Terror Scale off of the tracking. And even if they do, that 5/5 Devil Sword also dies to just the Divine Shield if any buff comes onto this Corpse Taker.
So you're looking at this. There's dropping the weapon here could be probably a very ideal turn for them to go into this. Not looking like there's too much that they can go. They could potentially go for another Corpse Taker, just go ahead and get that out there and have, I believe, still all the benefits, but you know, Serenite's there. There's just so much things to go wide with this board, and this is looking pretty good right now for Viral at the moment, though they do have to go as wide as they can with high as the health minions as they can, because at some point that Rexar is going to start coming into play.
Right. I think that both of the lines you mentioned are quite strong. It's just that what they do after equipping the weapon is very important. I was going to say, if they want to go True Silver here, then I would prefer to see them trade the 2/2 and 1/1 into one of the chain gangs and preserve the Divine Shield onto this Corpse Taker just because of Flanking Strike. It's actually really clean for Paladin if they use the weapon this way, because Hunter is not concerned about leaving up 2/2 and 1/1, which will eventually die. So they could have also just played the other Corpse Taker and then given up the Divine Shield on one of them.
Yeah, that could be a big thing. Is that your favorite card, out of curiosity?
Corpse Taker? No, I just think it's really strong.
That's fair.
My favorite
it is
card's
strong.
Flame Tongue Totem.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Flame Tongue Totem
Trivia.
is pretty good. There you go. Fun fact about Gia. There's a pop quiz at the end of this, so make sure you study. Going for the tracking here, I really would like to see this tracking coming in as soon as it can. The Terror Scale Stalker is kind of a huge thing that they need to do, and they're not going to get anything. The play deaths could be helpful, and I think Undasta doesn't really help here in this kind of matchup, so I think maybe the play dead would be the most ideal thing to go for. But what do you think, Gia?
Tough. I mean, it feels bad discarding Mundasta. That's a big one.
Yeah.
But they don't have any beasts in hand, so yeah, you're right. We can't afford to get too greedy. I like the play dead. This turn is definitely a flanking strike onto that Corpse Taker. Let there be no more Wind Fury on board. And later on, they can just, definitely Rexar next turn. Hopefully draw into something to pair with Zaranite for turn. Then Katharina, and then the game plan is to cube play dead the beast that comes out of Katharina. So it's a very clear line of play from here. And I like the decision from Google.
All right. Well, when you go into Katharina, what are you hoping to get? Are you hoping to get in this matchup just some Witchwood Grizzly? King Crush. All right. All right.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Grizzly's probably really good. I'm a fan of Crush. Big fan.
Big fan of Crush, but I'm also a big fan of that top deck from Terror Scale Stalker as well, coming in. That could bring in 2 5/5s, looking very strong. Do you maybe also just cube the egg at some point? Do you think there's any value to that at the moment, just early in the game because of how much pressure Viral is putting out?
Yeah. I kind of like the Rexar this turn, honestly, because now it looks really clean, right? So turn 6
Yeah,
Rexar,
that's true.
Turn 7 Stalker to get the 5/5. Turn 8 Katharina. Turn 9 Cube Play Dead. The Rexar clears off 2 minions and a Divine Shield. I don't think, like, if you're scared of a buff onto the Corpse Taker, which you would have seen if it were in hand on the previous one. We did see that Blessing of Kings was a draw, but it's not like that playing a 5/5 here with the Terror Scale Stalker is able to answer that either. So I just like going for the neatest line of play here. Anon agrees.
Well, as they should, because you say the smart stuff.
Steed, though, although like Blessing of Kings is technically more damage, and it allows them to hero power on the same turn. So definitely like this as well.
7/7 with Wind Fury. How bad can it really be?
Corpse Taker, man.
Yeah, that's
So
that's 14
insane.
health as well. Oh my gosh, that's just, my mind is boggled right now. What's the secret that they have down right now? I totally forgot.
We can hover. It is Noble Sacrifice.
Okay, Noble Sacrifice. So that also means that the Corpse Taker is technically safe at the moment because you can't go through the hero without the taunt. So
It's true. It prevents something like a Rush Poison Build a Beast, but not that Anand would go for that. I think he's forced into this Saranite and Terror Scale option. The next turn, maybe Katharina can pull Witchwood Grizzly. It's definitely the better one here. King Crush is a meme, guys. Sorry. But-
no, it's fine. Face is the place sometimes, Gia. Face is sometimes the place. But yeah, like you said, there's just not much going on here. With the 8 health is kind of situational. I actually wouldn't be against also seeing the Build-A-Beast, seeing maybe you can find something with Lifesteal, or maybe Life Drinker, or something along the lines of that. Just something to start getting that healing back up. Serenite is a must-do, because otherwise you are pretty much gone. But the Terror Scale is the most ideal option as well, because you do get to build up a board. But I think the moment we see, like, a Pyromancer or... Ooh, hello. Okay. Is there a way of setting up lethal here? I don't think there is, but it's worth...
this is just lethal because of Consecrate. The 1/1 can use the...
Oh, yeah,
other
you're
link-
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
And there's the concede. All right, well, that is going to be the first. Getting into
Right.
it. Talk to me, Gia. What do we want to hear?
This matchup has existed for quite a few now, and it's kind of heavily contested on just who is actually favored. I think I've heard Death Rattle players say they feel they're favored, and even Lock players say they're favored, but it honestly, a lot of it comes down to the early game checks, because more often than not, the even lock will have big threats like Mountain Giant, Twilight Drake. So, as Death Rattle Hunter, you want to be keeping things like Spider Bomb and Hunter's Mark, which are fortunately both in hand for Gad. He doesn't have great activators for them yet, and I'd expect this turn is just a complete pass, not even attack, not even hero. Because as the Death Rattle Hunter, you are actually playing control or defensive at the beginning, and you don't want to put them at a health total which is closer to active Hook Reaver.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous, so you don't want to be able to get those 7/7s on board so quickly, but you also want to try to make sure that they get stuff out of the way. And it's always so hard to tell what resources that the even lock has, because it's just such a big hand almost all the time. So when you go into it, you're just like, oh god, that's a lot of stuff. It could be just absolute, it's just a smorgasbord of useless cards. It could be Fungal Masters that have healing but nullify your Hooked Reavers, but you don't have anything else on top of the Hooked Reaver to get the stuff going, and it just could be bad synergy all around, or it could be the most perfect hand in the world, and you need to know what kind of resource to extend. How do you necessarily bait out those resources as you go along?
Well, as the hunter, I think it's less about baiting specific things, but trying to make sure you have the answers for their biggest threats. So,
Okay.
Mountain Giant, Twilight Drake, of course. We mentioned Spider Bomb and Hunter's Mark. Later on, when they have access to things like Bone Mare, you want to make sure that their board is always clear. And by the time that you can get power turns like Katarina, that's the time that you can start going pace, because at that point, the Hook Reavers are less of a threat. And now, Mountain Giant is looking very scary, but at least Gad has the option of dropping a Spider Bomb here. And no activator quite yet, but there's no easy way for Elf to actually deal with it while making the Mountain Giant survive. It would involve having to put down a 2-drop and then take a 50-50 by trading the Giant into it, or 4-drop also. That's fine. The best situation for the lock is to put down 2 2-drops, then take the 2 and 3 to not have the Giant die. Alternatively, Gad could use a Hunter's Mark as well, but I think it's very redundant. You either want a Hunter's Mark or Spider Bomb, and I like the Spider Bomb for more mana efficiency this turn.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You do want to hold on to the Hunter's Mark, because you don't want to just drop it and then not be able to follow up with a Candle Shot or something. So why use it at all? Spellbreaker is going to be useful tactic here. That does mean pretty much the Spider Bomb is just another 2/2 on the board in this lonely world. I don't know if it's necessarily Terror Scale would have been good earlier. I don't know if you cube this Spider Bomb. Because there's not a lot of things that necessarily you would use these Spider Bombs for, unless you're trying to get through. I guess if you want to get through Mountain Giants, the 6/6. I don't remember what the demons call, but it's a 6/6, and then on top of that you also have the Hooked Reavers. But that's roughly about it.
Yeah. Well, I think this is actually a pretty good turn for the Death Rattle Hunter. Just being able to clear off the board. Yes, you're weak to Hellfire, but then you get the initiative back, and I definitely like holding onto the cube for your bigger minions later on. You definitely want those on bigger beasts, if not Grizzly. If not King Crush / Amani Warbear, which may or may not be in the list now that it's Rastakhan. Then at least the Grizzly. They are less powerful, but they're just at such a high health that it's so difficult for the even lock to clear them, and eventually they will just be able to pile on the damage as well.
Yeah, it's going to be just kind of an uphill battle at the moment, so hopefully we'll see something come into play for right now. Gad's looking fine at the moment, but I do always worry about just Warlock. Warlock looked like it's always just doing so good just because of how much stuff it has available to them at that moment in time. The moment when I see a Gray Mane pulled is just sort of where I hear like an uh-oh in my head, just due to like, okay, well, things are going to slow down a little bit and there's going to be a little bit of an awkward hiccup, and that sometimes can be just sort of the straw that breaks the camel's back in a way. But looking at this here, thinking about the cube, but what do you cube here? Do you cube those Spider Bombs, or do you maybe cube more wolves and get some 3/3s on the board, I guess?
If you're gonna cube, you'd probably cube the bigger minion if play here. And looks like he's gonna cube the Spider Bomb. Alright, well, because the new ones will have their Death Rattle back, it makes sense. And he did see one Spellbreaker already. I think most even locks don't run 2. It's 1 seems to be the standard, so this makes sense as well. And he did hold off on the face attack. He should have been doing that since a bit earlier, because now Elf is only 2 taps away from Hook Reaver, but in any case, no point in accelerating it even more.
Yeah, you got to think about it. Do you want a wide board or do you want just a small board with powerful minions? It's actually pretty good that they got rid of the candle shot. My biggest concern with getting the spider bombs out there is that, or really just in general, this playing around the MC Tech, by the way, very nice. Just really big concern is that Defile and Hellfire are just going to be so used. The moment they drop those spider bombs, they could actually just clear it. So also not going wide on board is very smart because there's going to be less value out of those spider bombs. You do have to go through a couple of waves of them due to the fact that there's going to be a terror skill I feel is going to happen very soon. But yeah.
It's true. I mean, like, even if they get Hellfire, though, at least that will be clearing off Elf's minions on the backswing because of the death. And I think that's Gad's main priority here is to just be able to survive until he can get to his Katrina, possibly Rexar, to give himself bigger threats. Because in the early game, he wasn't necessarily able to meet all of the checks that was necessary, and you had to, Gad had to make that not great feeling play of cubing a smaller minion just to be defensive. So just sticking on that game plan, I think you're meant to terror scale here. Take the trade onto the 4-4. Try and survive, basically.
Yeah, just do what you can until you. I think. Do you think there's any benefit to getting Rexar in this late game of the matchup?
Yeah, it can give you some stability. You don't necessarily rely on Katrina and cubes to win the matchup sometimes because once you get to a board state which is stabilized, the Rexar hero power is just insane.
Yeah.
Big minions. How does Warlock deal with that? They have 2 spells, and then what? I mean, especially if they're stealth as well. It can get to the point where you can just stack up 2 stealth minions and then one-shot them.
Yeah. At that point, you're just praying that you get the Gul'dan at some point, be able to fill back up the board and get that lifesteal going so that way you're easing off some of the damage to the point where it's like chip. But we'll see how this works off. Getting the Spellbreaker top deck is kind of huge. It does slow down that cube. It makes it pretty much back to what it was earlier, just a 4-3. And that could be very, very useful to them. I don't see much else that could be... I mean, there's other plays or other lines of thinking that you're going around. They're probably thinking about how they want to just sort of activate these spider bombs and getting the least amount of value it can get.
Yeah, I actually like this play, which I think they're gonna Shadow Flame or Health. Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah. Just to make sure all of the cubes are gone. You do lose cubes. I just wasn't sure if Hellfire or Shadow Flame was better, but I guess the Hellfire works as burst later on. And yeah, the Shroom Brewer to heal makes sense as well, because this is the Katharina turn, so maybe Hellfire and not healing was a bit too scary to just a King Crush coming out.
Mm-hmm. And
so
also,
the hand is a little bit lighter now, so the Grizzly doesn't feel as bad, but this is still not a great hand for the Hunter.
yeah, it's not a great hand for the Hunter, and I do like the idea of just dropping the shot early as well, getting it out of the way. There's no real way of hurting it at the moment. I don't think the Spellstone is upgraded, and tempoing out with a 4-7-4-4 seems really optimal, especially with getting that value trade. Looking pretty good here. Both hands are kind of slow right now, but it does still look like very much in favor for the Warlock due to the fact of the hero power, able to get that draw and just keep on going, and maybe even getting that upgraded Spellstone at some point. There's just a lot of things going. The Spellbreaker could be huge here, especially with the fact that there's no second cube.
Right. I'm not sure if we actually Spellbreaker the Shaw, because the rush isn't too scary in this situation when you don't really have... I wouldn't mind just Infernal. I definitely like tapping there. It's just really tempting for the Warlock to just be aggressive, or as aggressive as possible, because they have double Hellfire, that's 6 bursts, so they essentially just need to deal 8 to the face right now. Dread Infernal looks pretty scary, and you have the pretty solid read that the Warlock doesn't have Katrina in hand, because they would have slammed that on 8 all the time.
So, seeing here, the Wicket's going to go down. Honestly, my biggest question here is, when do you not hold on to these cards? Like, because, like, I understand the idea of, like, holding on to resource management and whatnot, but, like, this is kind of very difficult. Ooh, okay. Didn't know what to necessarily do here. I mean, that was the only thing that they could do at the turn, dropping the 6-drop after that. Hopefully they're still connected. Looks like they are.
Yeah,
I think they might be. I think they're just trying to figure out.
It was a full turn anyway. Like, he didn't miss another action, so...
Yeah. Do you think it was worth it dropping the 6/6 demon, or would it have been maybe just good just to tempo out that gray main?
Oh, well, I like the Dread Infernal because it challenges on board, puts some damage on the Shaw. Also, it buffs your Spellstone so that something like Spellstone and Defile can clear the Shaw next turn if your Dread Infernal dies. So I think that makes sense. Yeah, and if it sticks, it's just that much closer to the lethal with the Hellfires.
So, looking at this here right now, it is looking looks like slowly but surely they could start coming back up. Honestly, I would like to see them drop this Witchwood Grizzly right now. This is as small as the hand's going to get, buddy, and you want to get as much health as you can off of that Grizz. Tailscale Stalker for tempo, I guess, just to start going wide with that board. You don't want to... You haven't seen a Hooked Reaver, and it's going to happen very, very soon, so the sooner you can get that. The Vulgar Homunculus could upgrade the Spellstone, get some taunts. Looking pretty good.
Yeah, so there's actually a Hellfire Defile clear here, but it would kill off your Dread Infernal if you do that. I'm trying to think if there's a better order to go about this. Don't necessarily see it though. So just being able to develop the Hooked Reaver seems okay. And yes, he now has the Spellstone and the trade onto the Shaw for a really clean board state. He's actually going to go face here, so this I'm not entirely sure of. I don't know, I like clearing the Shaw because then it makes it so difficult to clear the Hooked Reaver, so I like this choice from Elf.
Yeah, this is quickly looking like this is going to be game one, going over to the side of Elf.
I haven't seen the taunt version in quite a while. Ever since the nerf of Giggling Inventor, people have been cutting this, what's this called? The 2/3 that buffs taunts +2/+2.
The guy.
Stone Shell Scavenger, I think. People have been cutting that and running the older list with just Violet Teacher, things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what the taunt package is. Maybe he's running like Saturday Chain Gangs, things like that.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic to see how this will go for them. And honestly, I'm kind of feeling very much still the Death Rattle Hunter being favored here, just necessarily after those nerfs. But, I mean, Token Druid, I think even after the nerf, goes super duper fast compared to a bunch of other. It's like a snack size taunt druid, if you will, because the spreading plagues are really just a big old win condition. You sometimes run the fluke just to get that extra Serenite Chain Gang. There's so much ways in the taunts, and I mean the Terrascale Stalker, not Terrascale Stalker, but the 1/6 that gets +1 health every time you keep summoning a minion. It's also very strong. I've seen sometimes run in there too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot the name of that, but I'm gonna disagree with you on your previous statement. I mean, I think that Token Druid is quite favored in this matchup, actually, just because there's such a vast lack of AoE in the Hunter deck that they can't necessarily deal with just a coined out Whispering Woods like this. And Savage Roar next turn,
yeah,
if it's
fair,
come out, is just 18 damage, but even having said that, Gad's Hand is insane. This is what he wanted last game. Egg into double Death Rattle activators is extremely strong as well. But he still doesn't have a way of clearing more than 3 Wisps next turn. He does have the Grizzly, though, to at least give him a taunt. Elf, on the other hand, has the option of going for Soul of the Forest onto this board, which is really, really strong. And honestly, the Token Druid can play really, really leniently with their cards as long as Rexar is still not an option. So next turn, still 5 mana, they should be fine.
Yeah, they should be still living. I honestly would like to also see potentially just the tracking into Rexar just to be able to get that potential board clear, extra armor, building up the beast, and also I mean, there's a bunch of other... Ooh, Bloated Bat could be used as well. But this is looking really strong. A Terra Scale... I don't know. I feel like also maybe the Witchwood Grizzly would just be good right now, because I think that's probably going to be as low as the hand's going to get, especially with also the draw power that Druid has. Well, maybe...
I think it does get lower pre-ultimate in chess. I think you can hold on to the Grizzly one more turn just because Savage Roar is not lethal yet. And plus this turn you can clear one token because you have to clear it. You have to do 2 attacks to clear 1 token. So I wouldn't mind something like Tracking plus Terror Scale Stalker. It's so tempting to play Kel'Atheth, but I agree with you that you need to find this Rexar ASAP. That AoE is essential to be able to survive the late game, and the +1/+1 on the minions won't be too relevant later on. So they will start with Tracking. Is it going to be a Rexar? Nope. But they have the option to take another Tracking or Saronite Chain Gang. They're going to go for the Chain Gang, which is the more conservative option, and I agree with it in this situation. It fits well with the mana, and it will stave off some Savage Roar damage.
Yeah, I respect this choice as well, and sometimes you just gotta layer up and get cold sometimes. And at the moment, Savage Roar looking pretty strong right here now at the moment, just be able to get some clears, especially with some of the traits that have been going on. You can clear, I mean, one of the 5/3s, there's another Terror Scale Stalker, but that kind of almost resets the board a little bit for the Hunter, and then it starts spelling trouble. And also, because the Whispering Woods have the Death Rattle to some of the 2/2 Treants, you're kind of still getting value. You're not really losing a board. You're just Savage Roar clearing a board and then just sort of resetting your own with 2/2s. It's kind of good. I like it a lot, but maybe it might be too much resources, extended. But who knows?
From the Druid perspective, they're very scared of Rexar coming out next turn. So they also have this option of just trading the 1/1s without the Roar. And then onto the board of the Treants, they can expend their second Soul of the Forest. So you have the 2/2s behind 2/2s. And it seems like it would be Rexar proof. But if they somehow have the read that in the hand, they could go for something like this. And also it's just a ton of damage, so it's really hard to pass up. I don't blame them for this.
That's true. Whew, I was about to scream that was a Rexar, but it's not to be the case. Well, at the moment, I think you're looking at this. Maybe go for the Grizz. Terror Scale Stalker is probably the most ideal thing, potentially. Could do that and then also go into Kel'Atheth. Just sort of just grow some of the minions, get your second egg to be a 1/1 to be able to, or 1/4 to be able to attack. I don't know. It's just a little bit of a slow turn, but it's not a bad turn either.
Yeah, it's tough to say, honestly. I think it's really close between Grizzly and going for something else. Because the neat thing about this board is that you can trade off 2 Treants, and then there's only 3 minions that you need to worry about. You've seen a Roar, so you're not too scared of something like Branching Paths that would only deal 9, plus hero power 10. I guess it's scary because then you just die off of swipe the next turn. So maybe you're forced into Grizzly this turn. But it's tempting to hold off and maybe try and build a bigger board with Spider Bomb and Stalker. And they are going to go for this. Don't mind it at all. You definitely clear off the 2 trees. It's such a blessing when they don't have damage. And now they're actually threatening quite a bit of damage of this.
Yeah, they are, indeed. Let's see here. I would honestly like to see maybe a little bit of a trade with the spirits into the egg to stop them from producing a bunch of stuff. Now you're just worrying about 1 play dead, potentially, but that is roughly about it. But you still get the egg out of the way, the 5/5s are done, and then also you can protect the 2/2 Treants potentially through Spreading Plague as well, and that would also start building up your board, and that would also be a board that would be very hard to deal with, even if you draw the Rexar, because there wouldn't be a whole lot to trade in with.
Man, I don't think you touched
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, because the board of the Hunter already has 15 damage. Giving them an egg would put them at 20, and you're at 23. They have hero power. I guess you could clear off other stuff in that situation, but I think the more pressing issue for the Druid is to find their own lethal soon. Because I was gonna say with a swipe in hand, maybe they could just go for Plague and then push everything face, try to draw into another minion buff, but they're instead gonna go for something a little safer and try to reset. I'm not completely sure about this. I think this gives the hunter a lot of time now.
I'm not going to pretend I know everything about this matchup because this is my first time ever casting Token Druid, and it's just been a hot minute just the way this is working out. Golly, Malfurion looks like an ideal turn for Alpha 1 right now, but this is looking still very strong just for Gad at the moment. I think pressuring face could be ideal, just going ahead and doing that. I mean, the flanking strike top deck is really great, but they could also drop the Witchwood Grizz, go hero power, go for face, and that's also a safe turn as well. I'm not really worried about these 2/2 treants so much.
Yeah, I think it's fine to clear one of them with the Terrascale Stalker. If they want to go super safe, they can. I don't know. I kind of like keeping the 5/1, especially having seen a swipe, hiding it behind a taunt, and then trying to pressure for a counter lethal with Katrina, pulling a charge minion. And instead, they're going to play really safe here. I think both of these players are very worried about the burst damage coming off from the other side. And Alpha 1, the top deck is Living Mana, which is not something you see very often in not in 2018. But I'm excited to see if they have some other unexpected inclusions into the deck. If they pick up something like Power of the Wild, which is really powerful, of course, because it can survive Rexar.
Yeah, and Living Mana is still a very strong card because you get back your mana. If you lose your board, that's fine. It's not a big deal. You just go ahead and get quite a bit, but it is a huge gamble. Let's see what we get here. Are we going to get the Crush? Crush could be used. Charge Double Sword's fine, but getting the second Witchwood Grizzly, A-okay.
Best one in this situation, I would say, because you're scared of them drawing into Power of the Wild or something like that. Well, they will only be on 1 mana next turn if you're not trading anything. So you can actually just go face here because it's possible that they run Innervate, in which case you're scared of Vate Power of the Wild. I'm not sure what's in this Token Druid list. But that is a 2-card combination. Otherwise, they're just gonna have to trade all the treants into the Grizzly anyway. So I like pushing face here.
Yeah, I'm not against it either. And also, you can't have a Spreading Plague just because the board is so wide right now for your own side, and that's kind of like not ideal at the moment. But they're going to go ahead and start just getting this Witchwood Grizz out of the way, get back some of those mana crystals, see what they can do. But, I mean, this is pretty much a very dead turn at the moment for them. And, golly, it's not looking good, especially with the fact that they have no way to deal with that Katharina, because that Katharina could do a lot of damage as well if they have some way of... I mean, cubing Katharina next turn looks pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. It could present lethal if King Crush is the Death Rattle pull, even through Kel'Thuzad. So, I mean, even if Kel'Thuzad...
Oh yeah, it would be a 9/9.
So I think, well, and there's hero power still, so it's just a lot of damage. And I think that the Druid is not looking too hot here. They are going to trade some things just to respect it, but they're not very close to their own win condition either. This stuff is going face. Katharina first. We'll see what the cube pulls.
Is it lethal? And... ooh!
Dasta, I mean, you pull a Grizz.
Get the Grizz?
I mean, how are they coming back from this? Plague does not deal with these minions. They don't have enough mana to go Plague Soul of the Forest either to try and set up a counter lethal through Savage Roar.
Malfurion. So... ooh, well, I mean, let's see. The Spreading Plague will at least buy them time. Malfurion is also useful here. But yeah, apart from that, I don't really know what else. And they also don't have 10 mana, which would have been so good because they would have been able to get the Death Rolls, get the treants, and that would have been so good. But just 1 mana off of such a good combo.
That's right. I mean, I do wonder if maybe that Living Mana turn could have been spent on something like Malfurion. It was 7 mana that turn, right? Because they hero power Living Mana. And then the next turn, maybe something plus Wild Growth to be able to ramp up into that Spreading Plague Soul of the Forest turn. But who knows how that turned out. So MC Tech just to remove one of the plagues. It's fine. Hunter's chilling here. They are so far ahead. Indasta can't get value. Unlucky. No board space and no Beeson, man.
That's okay. They'll just have to deal with a 8 attack minion that just is really powerful.
Oh, second plague and Soul of the Forest.
Okay. We're living here. We got 10 mana.
Okay.
We can do this.
Right.
The only thing they would have to worry about is that if they top deck Rexar, that's gonna be bad news bears.
Right, Rexar. And on top of that, they need to worry about top decking Savage Roar to use these Death Rattle as well.
Okay.
That's a dead draw for Gad. He cannot even kill off minions to create board space, which is pretty funny. But it's very awkward.
It is awkward. So let's see. All right, now Savage Roar could come into play. They do have to get through the Witchwood Grizz. It still has a good amount of health left. They also have the one.
Yeah. They can only clear 1, 2, 3, 4 of the plagues plus a flanking strike. Make 5, I think. I don't know. I think it's 4. So in that case, the board will look like 3 1/5s and 4 2/2s. So Savage Roar on that kind of board would be, oh my god, my math is slow. 16 plus 9, 25 damage, and they would have to put 16 of it into taunts. So I don't think it would be. Oh, with hero power it might be lethal, but I'm not sure if there's a way to put it into 11. Oh. Yeah, flanking onto the tree end is definitely very smart. That just reduces 1 minion onto the board. So yeah, I don't think single Savage Roar would have been lethal here through 2 taunts, and they didn't even draw it. So now I think they have to stall a bit longer with Malfurion. They can fit in a Wild Growth, which is very relevant here.
They could.
There's also a reason for UI. I wouldn't mind the UI either.
UI is a good idea. I actually wouldn't be. This is weird, but I might. I like the idea of maybe going for the Malfurion instead of the 1/5s. Go for the spiders. You already have a lot of taunts. You could get the poisonous value potentially. But the UI
face. Oh, this is so
smart. Wait, yeah, because I guess. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So Rexar needs to be the card. If they.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Do they get the card?
It's straight up Rexar.
Straight up Rexar or die. Rat or dead, the Rexar Betty.
Wait. I'm trying to see if there are any things that Shaw can do, because now they're able to trade off the 3/1 Wolf, create space for the Shaw. But yeah, nothing else can die on the board, so I think this is locked out.
No Rexar. Yeah. Wow.
Whoa. I just missed the most simple solution. That's so funny.
Gia, I do that all the time. It's okay. we here at AHGL, we are just very chill, relaxed, fun people. Looking at this stuff right now. Oh my goodness. So
the double UI for lethal, and mind you, the Death Rattle Hunter had start they could have asked for, which is Egg, Playdead, and Terrascale Stalker. Token Druid still comes out on just by power of Spreading Plague. It was lucky to top deck that second one. But yeah, I mean, sticking a board with Soul of the Forest behind it is just near impossible for Death Rattle Hunter to deal with efficiently.
Yeah.
Means that Facebook will be going up 2 wins to 0, right?
Match point, both in also the best of 3 and the best of 5 of this. So this is.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, so this is going pretty fast. So okay, we see that it's Death Rattle Hunter. So what could be the Druid and Paladin to synergize with this Hunter?
I'm actually not sure about whether the teams were thinking about synergy. Could be hybrid, could be mid range. Can't tell from this hand.
It might be secret.
Oh no. Yeah. Wait, does that have on master? I haven't played enough.
I mean, Secret Hunter does have minions, and sometimes I have seen the Hunter go.
Yeah, I'm unsure if it has heavier things like Hound Master, but I guess it makes sense just because you probably run Bear Shark. So yeah, there's a lot of different things this could be. I'm excited for the next draws. And I do think Death Rattle Hunter struggles against all forms of these decks. It's Zul'jin, so it looks like it is a hybrid hunter, is what I want to say. What I mean by that is they have the early game package of mid-range hunter, but they also run like Zul'jin towards the end. They run hybrids, things like that to get value even in the late game.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll see how this hybrid works. Is there too much going on, or is there enough going on to be the bomb of the match point that they need? Wandering Monster already off the bat. That's going to be such a strong turn too. Kaliseth is also pretty strong as well. I mean, both have. I think honestly, right now, Elf has a stronger hand early game, but we'll see how it works out late game. The tracking could be huge here. I mean, the tracking's got to come down next turn for sure.
Yeah, I think Elf has the nuts, and he can start with the get onto this Kaliseth if he gets +1/+1, or even more attack is fine as well. Wandering, I'm not too sure of yet, because you can play the secret next turn, but I guess he wants to curve into that Mask Contender, which is always fine, and then you can coins after that, which seems really probably the most aggressive way to take the matchup.
Tracking coming in here for Gad. This is double tracking turn, maybe. Maybe not even the double tracking turn, just tracking once. But what are you trying to find here? Are you just trying to find the Rexar so you can out zombiest your opponent? What are you trying to do here?
Yeah, it's tough because this deck really struggles against Spellstone. I think first thing you want to find is maybe Flanking Strike just for a turn 4 play. Other tracking could get you. Oh god, I mean, the only way you really beat this kind of start is your own insane start.
Ooh,
Shaw?
Yeah.
I'm liking that.
I like. Well, maybe the cube as well, because I don't think there's much they can do with a slow played Grizzly cube, unless they. No, I don't know, but Shaw is most optimal for sure. After that, I don't really know what much you would do. I think just tempoing out the Shaw at that point and just seeing what secrets they have is the best way to go around. Just gonna hero power and just hand over that turn begrudgingly. Oh my goodness, this is looking just so good.
Insane.
Look at these raptors.
My goodness.
What secret did they get?
I mean, so they got snake trapped, and that's probably the reason that Gad held back with the Kaliseth attack. It's so awkward against Hunter. Sometimes you never attack because you're not sure which secret it is, and it's not worth risking it. At least the Mask Contender does not buff the Spellstone, because you need to play a secret, not pull one from your deck.
Yeah. I just don't know what to say. This is pretty much Alpha 1 just being blessed by the gods of RNG, being able to get this amazing hand right now. Wind Fury could be pretty cool, but I think also can't be targeted, so that way when you start buffing up this minion, it could be pretty strong. Could get that same buff again. Double Wind Fury is amazing.
Quadro Mega Wind Fury. I think he was trying to fish for poisonous there because it's pretty threatening. Didn't find it though, so he won't have a good answer. In which case, I think you just start chucking things face. Maybe it's worth killing off the Kaliseth, but I'd rather do it with the. Oh yeah, this makes sense so that the Shaw doesn't straight up trade into the Daramol and get the best trade possible. MC Tech with Rush, and the minion it pulls gets Rush as well. That's why Elf was really fishing for that poisonous Shaw. Is one of the best ways to come back from this. So look at that. Now Gad needs to consider the secret package, so I assume there's a freezing possibility there and snake drop.
One of them is a wandering monster, I believe, which is what they got earlier in this game. So there's
Right, but like from Gad's perspective.
Oh yeah,
he
yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
tested for anything, so he'll want to be assuming there might be a freezing as well.
Huh. And do you go ahead and track here, or are you just holding on to that? Like, see what I think really to really just start closing out this game, or not closing out the game, but start getting more benefits. Do you want maybe the Katharina potentially? Try to see if maybe you can find that early. Start building up the board that way.
Yeah. I like that he tested for the secrets first before tracking to see what. But I don't like testing first with Candle Shot. I think that attack is wasted in case of a snake trap, because he could have killed one more snake in this situation. I didn't see the choices there. That went very quick. But another Grizzly's never.
It was like Grizz, Egg, and something else.
Flanking strike. Okay. Yeah, I would have considered flanking strike, but the rope was at the end there. Probably Grizzly as a reflex pick.
Pressure is sometimes the case, and I don't know. Grizzly is probably a good idea because when the board starts going wide, and also that Spellstone comes into play at some point, it's good to have that just high health minion to be able to eat that much damage.
And Elf there was fishing for a way to deal with the shot. Either Huffer, of course, Huffer was optimal, didn't get either of them, and that means the shot is gonna live another day. And Gad might just be able to pull off the unfavorable off the back of this Shaw. He knows that the trap remaining is not freezing. It's either explosive or wandering from his perspective, or misdirection, I guess, but people shouldn't be playing that game yet.
Okay.
So yeah, now this Grizzly will be able to value trade the Misha. He can trade Shaw into the Ooze as well. And the Grizzly will have so much health. Only 3 cards left in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Just also with the Kelseth buff, that Grizz is just so huge because it's also just one-hit Misha. That's so good. And I think at the moment, this is kind of getting to the point where I still don't see Alpha 1 totally out of this. It really does depend on what they draw, but they do have a fully upgraded Spellstone, so that is something that is going for them, if I'm not mistaken. So that is something that they could go. Oh, that would have been so good, but they're not out of it. They just need to see if they can survive this. A second Grizz may probably come down, and it's going to be hard to deal with, but it's not totally out of the realm of possibility to come back from this. It's just going to be really hard.
So the Spellstone was 1/2 upgraded, which is still pretty decent.
Oh, my bad.
In this situation. I know it looks fully upgraded because it's the gold version, right? When
yeah.
it's gold, it just looks pretty anyway. It's like I actually just have to read the text. I can't identify it.
Yeah.
Looking. Anyway, Mossy Horror here can deal with both the Secret Keeper and then trade off one of the wolves. Previously, we saw that Gad held back on the trade with the Shaw onto the Ooze, which, looking back on it, was actually a really good play if he expects this trap to be explosive trap, because that means the Shaw could eventually survive face attack. And it looks like Shaw's main priority. This minion has single-handedly turned the matchup in his favor.
It's a good bear. It's a good bear. At the moment, going for that Terror Scale Stalker, going to take the secret spellcaster out of the way, and then go ahead and take out one of the wolves. Looking very strong here. I mean, honestly, I don't know if you want to trade for the wolves, but I think just going face and trading in the Terror Scale with one of them could be fine. I think you really want to get this secret out of the way, especially when there's little to no resources in the hand for Alpha 1, because then you're after the secret, what's next? Nothing.
I agree that we need to be a bit more aggressive as Death Rattle Hunter here, because we've seen Elf hold onto this one card since the beginning of the game. He's also held onto coin, probably Zul'jin, right? So you have that clock until turn 9. But at the same time, I also like trading that Spider Bomb because you haven't tested for explosive traps. So I would have done that turn only slightly differently towards the end, which is face with the Grizzly after all is said and done. Yeah, now though, I guess you trade off the 4/1 into the 3/3. Now you attack Grizzly, test for explosive and wandering. after that, you play down 2 minions. I don't think he's gonna get there before we can see a turnaround for the hunter. I mean the hybrid hunter.
Yeah, potentially. It's just maybe if they can live long enough for Zul'jin, then maybe there is hope because they would be resetting the board. There would be a lot of secrets that could potentially protect both the hero and some of the minions. I mean, there's things that could be going for it. And let's see what kind of wandering monster it gets. If it gets the demon where you take damage, you discard a card, I'm gonna laugh so hard. But hopefully not. Just gotta keep going, start pressuring that face, and I mean, it's 2 cards in the hand now. It's good to get.
He's playing so safe here. I mean, yes, the 3-drop spot has a lot of variance, but I feel like they need just pressure going because he'll just come in. And then he's just gonna pack a few more secrets, and I guess it's not as scary as it would be for a true spell hunter because there's no flanking strikes and no deadly shots in the pool. But it will pull 2 secrets plus 3 wolves, I think. Which, looking at it, this board actually answered quite well. I'm used to Zul'jin being a huge threat, but it turns out it's not as great in mid.
I mean, not much to report back here. They can't play the Wandering Monster because it's already into place. It's pretty much looking like coin Zul'jin next turn is like most ideal thing coming up next. And then, I don't know. There's just not a lot of things going very well here just from the standpoint of, like, they do have... There's, like, on the side of Gad, there's Undasta, which is also just going to be so huge as well. It's just kind of looking like this is... finally a game going in the favor of Google and Gad taking one.
Right. And
optimistic.
We didn't want to see Facebook win the too fast.
Yeah.
We gotta have some more time and a little bit more suspense for the finals.
Gotta have a little fun.
So from Gad's perspective here, he actually plays egg before attacking phase in case it is explosive trap because he actually wants more. Looks like, but yeah, I mean, I don't see a way that the spell hunter can come. I keep calling it every different archetype of hunter
because it's all of it.
That's true, except Death Rattle.
Well, yeah. Apart from that, ooh, the Rexar.
Ooh, that's a way to come back. I think you start with Zul'jin because ultimately you'd rather have Rexar hero power than Zul'jin hero power. So you do this in this order.
Yeah. And you get that extra armor as well.
So 3 secrets and 3 wolves, if I'm not mistaken. Are there any other spells that have been played?
A coin.
Oh, coin. Yes. All right, Animal Companion.
Flanking strike.
Ooh.
Sure. Well, technically they didn't lose a wolf.
Yeah, just net a wolf. Net 0 wolves.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Ooh, that play does.
There's really just 1 secret. Oh, right. Why did I say 3? It was just Wandering and Snake, and then the Snake came off of the Mask Contender.
Oh yeah. So when oh my goodness, that's such an interesting thing. So you don't get the benefit of the battle cry because it was a battle cry, not an actual spell itself. Interesting. Okay. Well, that definitely would make Zul'jin absolutely broken if that was the case. But yeah, this is... Whew.
Play dead turn. Well, at least God knows.
Got the Misha!
Yeah, best outcome. Dang, that actually makes things a lot more convenient for him. And he can just drop a Tempo Dasta. It's fine. It's like, it's a big minion. It's a 7/7.
Yeah, it's not gonna die to anything for sure.
So Spider Bomb clear off 2 of these, and then Undasta clear off 1. You can see what's in the Wandering before Undasta.
And this time you actually know what it's a Wandering because of Zul. So it's not like you're trying to play a guessing game as well.
Looks like he's not even planning to. Oh, he could trigger it with the egg. That's actually quite good in this situation. I He's just not going to trigger it at all. Alright. So Gad has been playing very safe throughout this game, and that might be to his detriment because now Elf could possibly have some time to find the comeback with this Rex.
Yep, it's turn 10. You got the Rexar. You can build a beast, put a freezing trap as well. Opting to drop the hero power doesn't really... Well, they can board clear and get the Rexar.
Yeah, I think that's quite good. I'm just not sure if you build a beast or freezing trap. Freezing on either of these gives you more time, but I think all the
Subject 9 is huge.
Oh my gosh.
That is so good. Oh my god.
That's the first time I've seen a built Subject 9.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen it be built.
Relevant. I would.
Yeah.
My bad. I thought you meant like you never saw it before in your entire Build-A-Beast life. I was like, okay.
No.
All right.
But it's actually relevant now. That's pretty insane. At least you get to see the whole secret package now from
Right? Here we go. Wandering Monster. Okay, fair enough.
Great, but average.
Gets a little bit of damage on there. Golly gee willikers. Well, it's good. I really am glad they went for the Build-A-Beast, because I don't think the freezing trap would have gotten them any value, because you use the freezing trap to start taking back the board, but if you really have no minions to take back the board with, it kind of makes it difficult.
It's true. I like just dropping down in Dasta here. You've seen your opponent has built. You haven't drawn your own Rexar, so now you're the aggressor. And it's just a 7/7. What's there to lose? No secrets on the board.
Yeah. Do it. I guess they're just trying to wait for it for when it's the right time to overkill, but I mean, honestly...
They don't even have decent hand to pull, so this just makes sense.
Yeah.
And placement in the middle for crushing walls. Random crushing walls.
Flanking. Ugh.
Okay.
Flanking.
So we start with the Subject 9.
Mm-hmm. I would.
We end with flanking.
More options, the better. Let's see. Explosive Trap is probably one. Snake Trap, most likely.
Yeah, I think he's thinking of a way if he can maybe lock out the Undasta and then isolate it. So freezing Trap is really devastating. But they can only flanking the 5/3. Then they'd have to find like a rush minion that can kill the Mossy from the Build-A-Beast, and they only have 2 mana for that.
Another Subject 9?
And that's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Oh, Lifesteal Rush. Good. Always good. Ooh, charging Hydra.
Worth it.
Hydra. That's super worth. I mean, yes, it'll deal you 3, but it'll heal you. What?
Oh, what? Oh!
The damage it deals. This interaction existed. Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my god.
That's actually so funny. So
Gia
just doesn't have a yeah.
I love Hearthstone.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, it's such a good. All right, well, like you said, Gia, over and over again, as you accurately stated, the lack of aggression has been the downfall of Gad, and this is I don't like shooting down players. They have their ideas, and I like playing it safe against secrets because you get to keep the board. But there is an equilibrium that you need to find that sort of is that Goldilocks area, and unfortunately, I think just there is so much passiveness. Like you said, it just is going to be. I don't see how they can come back with especially double Hunter's Mark. What do you got here?
And I guess they just use one so they can deal a little bit more damage to the face. They're gonna get so outpaced by this.
But lifesteal.
At least they did it in the right order.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. They need their own Rexar. I think just Katharina's not gonna cut it with this hand.
Yeah, because what do you got? Charged Double Swords and the King Crush?
Yeah.
Both grids are gone. No cubes. Well, you have one cube, but...
What's in the box? An explosive... Oh, that's it?
Yep.
Okay, so they had 5 secrets in the... Okay, I guess that's a bit standard. They had double Wandering, and I think 1 each of the rest.
tempo up.
Yeah.
Oh
I
dear.
think Facebook might just be taking this game and
Oh.
this match and this entire best of 3 without even having to bring out their third.
Yeah, I'm sorry for those players, but this was the grouped agreed upon play style, and this is what they're doing. So fair enough. And I mean, congratulations to Facebook. They did a good job, and I mean, Google didn't do bad either. They did the best they could, and like honestly,
Okay. I hate to call it over before it's over.
Yeah.
The out is like, okay, so God realistically probably just plays Terror Scale Stalker here. Then Elf needs to miss both. He needs to miss 7 damage for lethal. He has a chance at Huffer and a Build a Beast. And then Gad needs to draw Rexar. There's nothing else that saves him in this situation. Because the Grizzlies are gone.
oof.
That's a charge. And it also has Battle Cry do
Huffer!
1 damage. See? It's like, yeah, that's lethal.
That is.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my lord.